All right, here we're going to start out with the Mayan temple of Kukulkan. Remember, where is this? This is at the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. And it is technically at Chichen Itza. Like that. When this was the end of the Mayan reign, this was about 1000 to 1200 CE. Okay, and the details, it was Mayan, the Maya people, and the astronomical alignment is a couple of things. So the astronomy related with it, as you remember, each of these step sides, each of these has 91 steps, and 4 times 91 is 364, plus 1 for the top, gives you exactly 365 steps to match the number of days of the year. Also, there is the well. Remember what a cenote is? A cenote is just a big hole in the ground. Essentially, it's a well with water in the bottom. This is the important one because it's straight north of the temple right here, or the pyramid of Kukulkan, temple of Kukulkan. Up here, Cenote de los Sacrificios. That's the one that it seems like the snake goes down the stairs and it seems to go off in that direction to bless the well. Notice there's another cenote down here. All right. So this is what a cenote looks like. This is specifically the one at Chichen Itza. And I just want to show you the back side. Remember, the back side of the temple doesn't look quite as nice as the front side. It hasn't been repaired. And at the bottom on the north side are where they have these serpent heads, snake heads, right here. And on these equinoxes, this occurs on the equinoxes. So equinoxes, serpent descends the north staircase. And since equinoxes occur twice a year, we see that at both equinoxes, both in the spring and in the autumn. And this is what it looks like. It's this shadow here that looks like a serpent, and as the sun sets, it's going to make that shadow move, and it makes it look like the serpent's moving down the side of it. And this shows all the people there watching this snake come down there. Remember, the whole pyramid temple is not matched up north, south, east, west. It's actually tilted, and that tilt makes this occur. If it wasn't tilted, that wouldn't occur. The sunlight would just hit there exactly. So it was, we think it was done deliberately, especially by the Mayan, because they were very good about doing deliberate things like that to make them work. All right, that was it for the temple of Kukulkan. Now I'm going to go a little out of order here. So we're going to jump to let me see what we got. Medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is the only one we care about. There were so many of them, but the only one that seems to show any astronomical significance is the bighorn medicine wheel. And it's located in Wyoming, and it's up on a ridge. Okay. When this was built, we're not really sure. We think it was probably in the 1500s, but it could be as early as 1000 CE, anyway up to 1800 CE. We're not exactly sure when it was built. Here it is coming in. Remember, it's on top of a ridge. It's very high up. Here you can see it. It's got these spokes, these rings, and these circles on the outside. Now these are on the outside of the ring here. This one's on the inside of the ring. And this one is actually separated slightly from the ring they created with it's all spokes. It's kind of like a bicycle wheel. Here are the alignments. So the ones that we care most about that seem most legit, The star ones I always wonder about because you notice, look, it doesn't even actually go through the center. And if you look at a certain direction and you wait all year long, there's almost always going to be a star that's going to be close to that. But right here, the one that's separated through the center, that goes right on the summer solstice sunrise. That seems very likely right there. And if you go back to here, to this one over here, you look over the center, you see the summer solstice sunset this direction. So those are the main alignments for this medicine wheel. Notice those are symmetric about this. This would be straight south this way, this would be north this way. So the D up here is close to being straight north. All right, here it is, looking at the sun. This is the panoramic views, so you can see it the way it looks. It's very beautiful because you're right up in the top of the mountains, the Bighorn Mountains. But remember, the medicine wheel was not the only one. There are lots of other medicine wheels. Most of these show no astronomical alignments at all. In fact, all of them except for the medicine wheel was the only one that seemed to have significant astronomical alignments. All right. Now we're going to jump over to the Hopi sunset. This one, mostly what I want you to know about this is you should be making your own sunset view here, but that they would use this position here to know when the sun was here that over here, so many days away, especially when it hits a specific spot, they knew that was 11 days from here until it hit the solstice. Then they would have their Kiva celebrations. And remember, they had their Kiva celebrations, and we talked about what they did inside those Kiva celebrations. If you don't remember that, go watch the video on that again, because it was important because it dealt with astronomical. It dealt with the sun moving back and forth through the year. Okay? And remember the Hopi, where are the Hopi? This is in the Four Corners region, that southwestern area around of the United States. And this was done in the 1800s when they started doing this, middle to late 1800s, where they wrote down what this Hopi Indian was doing. So that's about the time. Now they've probably been doing it for hundreds of years or even more as they pass it down from generation to generation. But when we got the map was from about that time. All right, that was the Hopi. And the other one we want to talk about before I do Chaco Canyon is Tenochtitlan. And Tenochtitlan, remember, where is this? Let me start the PowerPoint. This is in Mexico. In fact, it's at modern day Mexico City, right in the center of Mexico. Okay? And when was this? When was Tenochtitlan? Remember, it was in its prime in the 1500s. It probably started out before that, but it was in the prime at this time when Cortez showed up. I don't think we know exactly when it started. Let me see what I gave you there. We think it was founded in 1325. So it had been used for 175 years by that point. It was a big city, several 100,000 people living in this city. All right, and remember, this was not the Mayans, this was the Aztecs. And remember, the Aztecs started out as a nomadic tribe, a wandering tribe of people, and they had a prophecy. The prophecy was very important. The prophecy was that they would found a great civilization where they saw an eagle eating a snake perched on a cactus. And they found this in the middle of Lake Texcoco, which was on an island in the middle of this lake where modern day Mexico City is. So they built up the island, they kept making it bigger and kept adding more buildings until the lake now is completely gone. The whole thing is where Mexico City is. In the center of this place is the center of Mexico City. So the Mexican Empire was founded directly on top of the Aztecs. This is a painting from much later, and it shows where it was. Remember, astronomical alignments. These are cardinal points. This direction is south, east and west. There wasn't a road to the north, but these roads took you off of the lake. It was a very large lake. Okay? The center, they had the ceremonial grounds, and they also had their very large buildings. Okay, where it is located in the center of Mexico City. You can't see it, but it's right there. Remember, Mexico City is also very high altitude. This is what it is, modern. The most interesting building was right at the center. This is called Templo Mayor, the Great Temple. In the center, it had two tops to it. These are stairs. There were two tops to it, but the spot in between those was the most important. Right here, remember, they don't exist anymore. But they had the viewing point, so when you look through there, on the equinoxes, the sun would rise and go right through the middle of the top of that temple. And the tricky part was, they actually, we think, pretty sure, that they moved the observation point to make this work. Notice it's not directly east, it's off by 7.5 degrees. Well, that was because as the sun gets up, this is much taller than your viewing position. You're looking up, the sun is not on the horizon anymore, the sun has to rise up. As it rises up, it shifts over at the same time. It shifts over so that when it's at an altitude of 20 degrees, it exactly goes through the center of that, and this occurs on the equinoxes, which was very important to them. We know it was important to them, we know it was important to the Mayans too. Remember, Teotihuacan was also the equinoxes. So to these people